Hello, everyone, and welcome back to RCRC. That is the relationship connection with Ronald and Charlie. I am Charlie Willis, a mental health therapist.
I'm Ronald Willis, marriage and family therapist, and today we are looking at how do you respond when your partner emotionally attack you? Should you attack back? They call you a name, you call them a name.
Well, let's see.
Let's see. I think sometimes we know what to do, but knowing what to do does not always end up doing what we know.
Okay.
Let's watch this clip, y'all.
Charlie, wake up, man. What are you doing? It's time to get up and get dressed and go to church.
Ronald, oh my gosh, I'm tired. I'm not going to church today. I'm tired.
What do you mean you're tired?
I'm tired. I don't work all night.
Charlie, there's plenty of people that work and go to church.
But I worked last night, Ronald, 12 hours. I'm exhausted.
So, like when you go to church, right? What are you going to be doing? You're going to be sitting there?
I don't want to fall asleep.
You're not going to fall asleep. Have a pastor preaching. Come on now.
Ronald, I'm really tired. And I just can't.
You know what I'm hearing, Charlie? You're just being lazy and don't want to go to church. You got a lazy wife.
Really? Well, your mama lazy. No, better not say that. Might be an argument.
You know, Ronald, right now, I'm feeling like you're trying to guilt trip me into going.
I'm not trying to guilt trip you.
I'm tired. I don't want to go to church today. Now, that's just it. Please respect my decision. Gosh.
All right. I got you, Charlie. You're tired. You don't want to go to church. I just go by myself.
All right, Charlotte. Did you see the emotional attack in that particular skit?
By you or by me?
That's a good question. Did you emotionally attack me?
You didn't know it.
I didn't know it. Okay. What about the known emotional attack?
It came from you.
Okay, and what was it?
You called me lazy.
You're just being lazy and don't want to go to church.
Well, you was lazy, wasn't you?
First of all, you came in complaining, and I was exhausted.
So you say.
And then, you started to berate me and
Berate you? No, I was trying to make some eloquent points of why you should go to church.
And you didn't take my feelings into consideration at all.
Well, going to church is really not about feelings. So that's why I'm not taking your feelings in consideration, because if you base your feelings on going to church, there'll be a lot of time. When I won't be going to church, you won't be going to church, and we won't be going to church.
This is true, but there were other variables
What's the other variable?
included here. I had been up all night. I wasn't.
You work just like anybody else work.
It's a different shift, so it's different.
Different
night
shift
is a different. It's a whole nother beast. And I wasn't. What do you call it? I just didn't have all my faculties. I wouldn't have been able to enjoy the service.
So you say that's projection.
Anyway.
It's not necessarily true. You might have got up, although you was tired, and went to church and enjoyed it. Perhaps.
Well, I'm not gonna comment any further yet.
There go another emotional attack. This time you finna do one?
I'm getting ready to say before we begin, I want you to know that we are here to equip, empower, and educate couples on how to thrive in their relationships. How? Through candid conversations right here on this platform.
That's right. And don't forget to help support this ministry by making a contribution to our Cash App at First Focus Faith. And we watch it by YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Do it all because we need it all.
Yes, we do. All right, now back to the shenanigans.
Shenanigans. Okay. Well, I wanted you to go to church, and you didn't want to go, and so I was trying to provide some helpful tips to help you change your thought process about going.
I'm just curious how many people out there have been through this. And it may not been that you have worked a long, hard shift overnight.
But you're a minister.
Or-
You're an elder in church. We expect to see your face in the place.
So, do positions matter? I mean, yeah, like what's the happy medium here?
What if he's the pastor? I don't feel like going to. I don't feel like preaching today.
Well, if I was a pastor, I would not be working that. I wouldn't.
Well,
God has-
that's not wholly true because
God have me-
you didn't make enough money to pay the bills. You got to do something else besides.
Yeah, but I think God will have me in a different element because the people come first, and are
Wow.
needed.
So in this situation, people don't come first. Okay,
People do,
Gotcha.
but that's like a big umbrella. I would have a lot more people more responsibilities and things of that nature.
So you'd be compelled to go because now you have more responsibility.
I don't like the word compelled to go, but yeah, things are different. Things will be definitely different anyway. So I'm pretty sure there's some people out there that
you
been in this
almost
position.
elders next to a pastor now. Don't get it twisted, y'all.
But there's one
When you look
right
at that-
now. There's one pastor over the church, and then there's many elders and ministers at the church. So
It's
somebody
pastor, next is elder.
somebody else can take the lead if need be.
All right, so let's dive in
Please.
into being able to handle these emotional attack without being explosive arguments. Because as we saw in this skit, what was your response to my emotional attack, Charlie?
I'm not gonna repeat it.
No, we want to hear it. Viewers want to know what was going on. How did you respond to me calling you being lazy? How did you respond? We want to hear it.
I immediately went into the attack back.
No, we want to hear what you said.
I said, I said that.
What did you say? Are you scared to say it? What did you say? What was you thinking? What was you thinking?
I was thinking the nerve.
Your mama?
I'm sorry, Mama.
Man, come on.
This was a skit.
Oh man, this is a skit. This still how you thinking, though.
Yeah.
Nobody told you to say that but yourself.
Right. So I immediately wanted to go and hurt and below the belt.
Below the belt. Talk about my mama.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I think that's a little immature on your part, though.
She was immature.
Oh, she was. I thought she was. Who is she?
Yeah, she was immature. That was not a nice thing for her to say.
Talking about who is she? Like that's somebody else in the skit. Oh, this looks like me, but that's not me. No, that is you. And your thought, we do these skits, we do not have lines. There is no script. So you saying what you thinking and how you feeling at that particular time.
Moving on.
Lack of it. Maybe we need to have a show about lack of emotional maturity.
That probably will be a good one, and it's probably needed.
It's probably needed. So
There'll be a lot of your mama jokes in that one.
your mom. All right, we went back old school. Do the youthful, the young people?
I think they might.
They still say that? Your mama.
They might.
What's the purpose of saying that? Just to make the other person mad?
Yeah, it's pretty much.
I'm mad, you mad, we mad, everybody mad.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
And so, that those kind of conversations, me attacking you by calling you lazy, and then you responding with a thought process that you attacking me back, it's not effective. It doesn't work. Okay, somebody gotta be the bigger person. And if I'm saying you're lazy, then I'm not being the bigger person at that particular time.
Right.
So you can't respond with an attack of your own. because now we're gonna attack each other and we get nowhere. Okay.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, we still be arguing now. Nobody go to church. I don't go to church. You don't go to church. We still arguing. Where they at? They at the house arguing, y'all. Okay, and
Sunday
then
morning argument.
right, and then what it's about really?
Right.
Yeah, it's simplicity in the concept and what's going on, right? You know, because it does nothing, you know, to damage the relationship. You know, it's not a huge thing, right? It's just based on selfish desires. So what we're gonna do is we want to give our viewers some skills to assist with not responding to the emotional attack when attack of your own.
So that is how to respond to.
That's right,
a
and you
personal
successfully
attack.
did it in the skit.
I did?
Yeah, you had the thought of attacking, but you came with another thought and said, "Hey, wait a minute."
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
just because something comes to your mind, your brain, chew it. You don't have to spit it out immediately. You don't have to spit it out at all. You might need to swallow that back.
Yeah, so that goes our first point for the self-talk.
All right.
Talk yourself out of the we call it an automatic thought.
Yes.
When you hear this attack, you emotionally have an automatic thought of how you want to respond, but you got to talk yourself out of that. And it really is you pause in to have a second a self-talk, right?
Yes.
In other words, you're going to ignore your first thought. Your first thought was your mama. We're going to ignore that thought. Okay, because that's not a productive, healthy response. Okay,
Right, that's
although you
not.
don't like what I'm saying and stuff, right? But if you respond that way, then I'm not gonna like what you're saying, and we're not gonna like what each other is saying, and naturally we'll probably argue.
Yep. Then the back and forth starts. So let's look at it in scripture wise here. So Proverbs 17:9, this is the English Standard Version, states, "Whomever covers an offense seeks love, but who repeats a matter separates close friends." Wow.
Yeah, that is a good scripture to highlight what we are saying and stuff, right? Because I made an offense,
You
right?
did.
Okay. Now, if I make the offense, it becomes your job to cover that up in such a way that you seek in love and not retribution, not retaliation, not trying to
Okay.
come back at me and stuff, right?
All
No,
right.
I'm gonna love him in spite of what he just said to me by overlooking that offense, right? And I'm gonna have a second thought, right, that helps us navigate and continue the conversation. Because if you respond with your automatic thought of your mama, the the conversation is going to change. We're no longer talking about you going to church. Now we're talking about your mama.
Yeah, and that's something you don't want to do.
Yeah, that is correct. So, this skill of self-talk will help us with our second skill. And what is that, Charlie?
Overlook the insult or the attack.
Ooh, this is huge to understand and is huge to do. Because when the insult comes, right, and you have a feeling of repeating what you have heard in such a way that they insult you, now you want to insult them back. But what do our scripture say?
Our scripture is Proverbs 19:11, and it states, "A wise man restrains his anger and overlooks insults. This is to his credit."
Ooh, this is good. And I love the scriptures because it's telling us when the insult comes, right, you have to overlook it. Because if you don't overlook it, right, the automatic thought of your mama might prevail.
It will.
And so definitely when I'm telling you that you are lazy, and naturally that does not make you feel good, and it creates a platform where you want to attack back. You want to give me what I'm giving you. But the scripture telling us different. You got to overlook that. Because if you don't overlook it, the conversation is going to be change, and y'all going to a place that you don't want to go to.
Yeah, but sometimes it is hard to overlook an insult.
It is because it makes you feel in a negative way.
Yeah, but I get the part about being a wise man, because it's a petty. If you go into it, you end up in more pettiness and back and forth, and just like you said, it erupts into something else even more bigger than it would have been.
Right, because you know the I said the insult would make saying you're lazy, and then imagine if you'd have said what you was thinking,
Right.
right? And I may come back with talk about your mama, then you talk about my mama, and it doesn't get us anywhere. And so you know when we looking at how to respond to the emotional attack when it comes, you got to do what our scripture is telling us to do and overlook it.
Overlook it.
That's right. Overlook the insult.
All right.
So what's our next point?
Our next point is forgiveness.
And before we go there, let's take a commercial break. All right, we are back from the commercial break, and we're talking about how to respond when someone emotionally attack you or emotionally insult you. Okay, and we already provided 2 tips, and one tip was self-talk, and the second tip was ignore the insult, ignore the attack, Charlie. So what's the third
Right.
tip?
Hi. So
That's the third tip.
So the third tip is forgiveness.
Ooh.
Can we forgive?
That's a good question. Can we forgive?
Yes.
Sometimes yes, and sometimes it's a no.
Right.
What does scripture say?
So Matthew 6:14-15, and this is the Message version, reads, in prayer, there is a connection between what God does and what you do. You can't get forgiveness from God, for instance, without also forgiving others. If you refuse to do your part, you cut yourself off from God's part.
Ooh, I love that. Because what I'm hearing when I hear that scripture is that you should be on a platform where you want God to forgive you for things that you are doing.
Right.
And if you want that, then it becomes your job, your position to forgive others. And if you don't forgive others, you can't expect God to forgive you.
Right, but we don't think about it that way.
Right.
We're not even thinking about that connection.
Right. And so, you know, in this particular situation, you might be contemplating to yourself, well, what's forgiveness at in this? Well, it's forgiveness in the moment, at the time when the attack occurred. When I called Charlie lazy, she got to forgive me for that. Because if she don't forgive me for that in the moment, right? Then your mama might prevail. The first thought that she was having might prevail. And so you got to forgive me for that. Okay? And if you don't, the other point of ignoring the insult that probably won't occur. Okay? Any self-talk you got going on probably won't occur because you holding on to what I said, right? You not forgive me for what I said, and then now you're on the attack. Okay? So definitely in the heat of the moment, right? When it occurs, right? Forgive the person for that. You know, because am I really meaning that about you when I say that? When I say, oh, you just being lazy.
No, you didn't say I was just being lazy. You said that in the beginning, and then you said I was lazy.
Okay, am I really meaning it though? And when you look at the whole message that was being conveyed to you from me,
No, but what I take it is when people don't get what they want, they start giving out these personal attacks.
right? They start doing things, and
Trying
you
to get
said
back at
you said this right. I'm feeling that you are trying to do what? Guilt
trip.
That's right. So I'm trying to make you feel guilty so that you can ultimately go to church.
That
Be
wasn't
on my
nice.
team.
That wasn't nice.
None of those efforts worked though. Okay. So definitely, for when the attack come,
Forgive.
forgive them for the attack. That is correct. What's our next point?
All right, so this one is a great point here. You want to employ. It is the I message.
Okay. Now, what is the iMessage for some of our viewers that don't know?
So the I message is within your communication to your partner. It's a method that will keep you from getting attacked again and being in the defensive mode. For example, if I said, "Well, you did it," or "You made me feel like I gotta go," when we start using the word "you" in that connotation, it puts the other person in a defensive mode where now they're going to attack back to you. They're going to give you back something that you may have done. When you express your feelings, the other person is more prone to respond to the feeling, right? So if I said I feel saddened instead of "you made me sad," what does that do for you? It makes you want to respond to, "Well, why are you saddened?"
Right, because if you say you made me sad, I may defend it. No, I'm not.
Right.
I'm not making you sad.
Yeah. At least that's I would like you to respond to the saddened.
Right. So you highlighted some of the iMessages, and as you did your self talk, right? You paused. You did your self talk, and of course you can't really see the forgiveness, but we can assume based on how you responded, you forgave me in the moment, right? And then you conveyed how you was feeling, and it wasn't executed to the perfection of it, because you said this.
You know what, Ronald? I feel like you're trying to guilt trip me into going.
No, I'm not.
As you can see in the skit, right? You didn't execute it to perfection, and because you said, I feel like you are trying to guilt trip me, and of course, when you said that, I defended myself,
Right.
and so that was an effort of trying to do the I message, but you didn't quite get it right. And so the I message teaches us to say, I feel, and then tell the feelings.
Guilty.
Like what you should have said. How you should have said it.
I'm feeling guilty.
I'm feeling guilty. Okay, and I can't defend myself because you didn't accuse me of doing it to you.
Just say the feeling that has
Right.
erupted.
Right. I
Not
feel
necessarily trying to blame somebody or
Right.
call somebody because we can control how we feel, right?
yeah, because you said I'm feeling guilty. I might have said, well, why are you feeling guilty? What's going on? Because in my mind, I'm not doing anything to make you feel guilty, so I want to understand why. Okay, and then you want to convey the next sentence in such a way that you don't use the word you.
Right.
Right. So that's the I message technique. It's not always easy to do, and as you can see in the skit, we didn't do it. we showing you the skills, and we didn't do it perfect. And you don't want to get caught up in perfection, making it rigid. Okay, you want to make it effective. And although the I message wasn't done perfect, it was effective. And we get in these situations that rarely will be a conversation perfect, and we try to do our skits in such a way that it's not perfect. It just flows, right? And so if we don't execute a skill to perfection, we just keep moving. And that's how you got to do. And when you get in these situations, I understand the skill. I'm trying to use the skill, but I might not use it perfect. Okay, but you don't want to get hung up and be rigid trying to utilize the skill. Just try to use the skill. Be yourself. Okay, and allow it to flow. That is rarely going to be perfect. You can't control what the other person is saying.
Right.
And so the I message technically itself just says I feel, and then tell the feelings. And sometimes we have a challenge doing that because we don't recognize how we are feeling. We may have been taught to suppress our feelings and not express our feelings, and so we don't naturally express feelings.
Right.
Okay?
And if you have difficulty understanding and knowing what your feelings are, there's something called the feelings wheel, and it's here available. You can just Google that, and it'll show you different points, different feelings that you may be feeling. So it kind of help you with conveying what's going on with you at the time.
Right, but I do like to get an understanding that when you do the I message technique and you explaining yourself, you got to avoid the word you. You is a
Right,
blaming
right,
word.
right.
It creates a defense, okay? And in the skit, you said something that resonated with me that kind of made me connect to your feelings because that's what the I message is all about, although it wasn't perfectly executed. And you asked me to respect you.
Respect.
Right. And then that calmed me down. Okay? Because I want to respect you.
I'm gonna say that all day.
You gonna say that all day, okay?
Respect.
I want you to respect me. I want you to respect me. Okay, so you're gonna overdo it, huh?
That's where how I model, right?
Yeah. So the I message is all about connecting to the feelings, and although you didn't execute it to the perfection of how you do the I message, you got your point where I connected to your feelings, where it created in me to want to respect you, and of course I said, okay, let me respect my wife, and I just go to church by myself.
Good job.
Good job. Of course, I didn't want to, right? Because in reality, what I was trying to gain from you and using all these guilt techniques to get you to go to church, I just didn't want to go to church by myself. I just wanted my wife on my side.
Oh.
Yeah, it was nothing. It was nothing about you should go to church. You're an elder. You're a minister and stuff. I just wanted you on my side. That's all. When you because I done got to a place where I'm accustomed to you going to church with me, and so then when you don't go with me, it doesn't feel right.
Oh.
It just doesn't. Okay, and not saying that you have to go to church with me every single time I go, because ultimately I'm the only one who can get myself in the kingdom.
That's right.
And so, although it feels better to go to church with you, that does not mean that if you don't go, I'm not going. I'm still going to church.
All right. Okay.
Right. So, I was coming from that place. I was coming from the place of wanting you to go to church with me. And I was using guilt techniques to get you to go with what I really truly expressed and how I really felt. Maybe I really expressed how I felt. Who knows how you'd respond?
Why? Well, yeah, I'm just thinking that.
Well, that's what the emotion attack does, right? It creates a formula where I don't tell you how I attack. I don't tell you how I feel. I attack you because of my feelings, without telling you my feelings.
Right.
Right? Because I want you to do something that I want you to do, which is really being selfish. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right. So let's move on to
The
our
last
point.
The final countdown.
All right. So don't take the attack personally.
Ooh, man, this is huge.
This is huge.
Because most people that attack back just took it personal.
Colossians 3:8, and this is the Living Bible, says, "But now is the time to cast off and throw away all these rotten garments of anger, hatred, cursing, and dirty language."
Ooh, that is huge. And it is really telling you that although I'm coming at you, right, you can't come back at me. And normally when we do that, we're coming from a place that is anger, hatred, and what does it say?
Anger, hatred, cursing,
And dirty language.
dirty language.
And so throw that away. It's not something that you want to put into the conversation because the conversation is going left if you do that.
Right.
Okay? I know it doesn't feel good. And perhaps what they said has hurt your feelings, right? But you can't go there and expect a positive result. If you do that, the result is going to be negative.
It is. It is. Okay.
And so, the bottom line, and as we navigate into understanding how to respond when this attack come or this insult come, you respond with love. That's the bottom line. Love the person, and despite of what they said, how it made you feel, still love them.
Right.
Right? Overcome what they said, so you won't be guilty of doing what they just did to you.
That is good. That is good.
And so hopefully these skills can help you to not respond to that emotional attack. And let's kind of wrap it up. What are the skills again, Charlie?
All right. Self-talk.
Self-talk, okay?
You want to overlook the insult or the
Right.
attack.
Right? So you want to have self-talk, and self-talk means you're going to pause and talk to yourself in a positive way to don't respond to that emotional attack. And the second one was what now?
Overlook the insult.
Overlook it, okay? Because if you don't overlook it, what's going on?
More attacks.
You attack, I
Yes.
attack, we attack.
All right. The next one is forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Should
Forgive
practice.
them for what they have said that may have hurted your feelings. Forgive them in the moment. Forgive them right there. Not
Alright.
right there. Forgive them immediately.
Immediately. All right. And then there's utilizing the I message technique.
The iMessage technique allows you to express your feelings without blaming the other person. Because if you blame the other person, they're gonna come on the defense, and their defense is attack on you, and then your defense is attack on them, and now we're attacking each other.
And then again, lastly, don't take the attack personally.
That's right, because really the attack is not about you, it's about them.
All right. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. And we will be back again next week with another exciting episode of RCRC, The Relationship Connection. Bye-bye.